This is John Lee from wealthdragons.co.uk and welcome to the first e-class on how to invest in property. Now, we're going to talk about mindset. I think mindset is one of the, I would say people don't really look at the mindset because they just think it's just something, oh, it's just gobbledygook. Well, actually, I can say that mindset is 80% of your success. And I have to say that 20% of the stuff you learn is mechanics. So, what do people think of BS? Yeah? What do people think of mindset? People think it's BS. Now, if I asked you the question what BS is, what would you say it was? Most people think it's, those two words. Well, actually, it's belief system. Your belief system will dictate what you do. What you do dictates what results you get. What results you get dictates your final destination. Now, I think it's important to add here that, your belief system, I want to tell you a little story. One of my belief systems was, if you go to estate agents, they'll never give you deals. And I used to think that for a long time until I met one of my friends who went to estate agents, and he used to get a lot of deals from estate agents. The only difference is he was doing something different than what I was doing. I was going there asking for deals. He was going in there asking how he could help the estate agent. Two different belief systems. So as soon as I started adopting that belief system, I then started getting deals from estate agents, and 700 estate agents later, and £100,000 more in the bank, that is what I earned from estate agents. So, you have to change your belief system. The belief system is what will make or break the success in your property business. So you've got to think about the mind. The mind's a little bit like a concrete block. You've got to pour cement in there, you mix all the elements together, and then it becomes solidified. Now, it's interesting because we actually teach a lot of people lease options, and throughout your education on these e-classes, you will come across lease options. Now, one of the things I say to people is you need to have a more open mind. If you was to have, say, a glass of water, and that glass of water was half full, you really need to empty it out, and then once it's emptied, only then can you start taking new information. So I think with everything you learn in property right now, right at the start of this, the most important part is I want you to keep your mind open, because I think it's so crucial to just be able to be flexible. Instead of think of your mind as a concrete block, think of it as like putty or some clay. Clay you can mold into different shapes. You can be flexible, and you know what? If you're not flexible with the times, you ain't going to move on. That's why your mind has to be able to take in a lot of this information in, and also take this information and don't. Property is, everyone thinks it's a science. Yes, to an extent it is, but more importantly, it's actually an art form. So let me explain to you what I mean by that later on in these series of e-classes. Okay, here's a myth for you. How many people who are watching this right now think that you shouldn't have a mobile phone whilst filling up in a petrol station? Do you know why people don't use the mobile phones, or told not to use mobile phones? Their belief system is, so they've been told, is if you use a mobile phone, then there's a chance that you can actually blow up the petrol station. Now, this has been proven to be wrong. It's not true at all. But yet again, people, when they listen, they just accept, it's mediocrity. It's just, this is the way you do it. And actually, it's not. So, next time you're at the service station, you want to use mobile, go ahead. Let me give you some property myths here. The first one is property investment is risky. Now, anything you do is risky. If you walk out on the road, it's risky. If you climb up some ladders, it's risky. The question is, what makes it not risky? And the thing that makes it not risky is having knowledge and belief, because really, risk is just another word for fear. Fear is nothing more than something that seems real, but actually it's not. So one of the things that you've got to do is you need to combat that. You need to fight against it. And one of the ways you do it is you have more knowledge and you have more belief. And the belief gives you certainty, because belief is nothing more than a feeling of certainty. So again, for me, when I saw my friends get deals from estate agents, for me, that was, wow, that's a belief system. That's no longer risky to walk into an estate agent and feel like I'm going to get rejected. So you need to find out some of the risks, or write some of the risks that you think are risky. I mean, if you think about it, there's only two things that you've got to combat against. One is, if property prices crash. I get that a lot from people. If property prices crash, then how do you combat against that? Well, you have to buy at the right price. You make the money when you buy, not when you sell. You've probably heard that before. So if a property is worth 100,000, you buy it for 50,000, and the property drops down by 40%, and it's now worth 60,000, you're still making a profit. So the first thing you got to do is combat against that. The second thing you got to do is if interest rates go up. So if you're not such a risky person, then all you got to do is get something that's fixed. You can get fixed mortgages, and if you're using lease options, then there's a way you can fix the interest rates on that as well. If some of you listening to this don't understand what I'm saying about lease options, later on in the e-classes you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. Here's another one. You need a lot of money to invest in property. I used to think this as well. I used to think, well, I always used to think that I always used to know actually that you could actually make money in property, but I never used to know how people used to do it. And for a long time I used to think to myself, well, I'd love to do it, but I just can't afford to. And that was an excuse. Because actually, if I tell you now, in the first 6 months I raised £209,000 cash. I'm going to tell you later how I did that. I'm going to teach you some strategies how you can do that as well. But it's a myth. People think you need money to invest in property. The truth is you do need a little bit of money. You might need a couple of grand just to get started, maybe 5 or 10,000. It's probably a comfortable place to start. But actually, if you're clever, there's some people who are actually in debt who try to invest in property and didn't have the money. So all they did, they went to someone else and said, look, you've got money, I've got knowledge, so let's put the two together and make money together. And that's exactly what we did. So you actually don't need a lot of money to invest in property, and I'm going to prove that to you later. We're going to show you some deals where actually you get paid for taking someone's property. You actually get paid at the end of the month for buying a property, and you're getting a discount, and you're making money from day one. It sounds hard to believe, but we're going to show you step by step how to do that through the future e-classes. You need a lot of time. This is one I get so often that I actually agree with this one. Property is something that's really simple but hard to do. It's a bit like if you're trying to lose weight. It's very easy to lose weight. All you got to do is do more exercise and eat less, eat the right time, and maybe get a personal coach. Okay. So when you talk about time, I get a lot of people say to me, "Well, I don't have enough time." I asked them the question, "Well, tell me what you did on Monday." They said, "Got home from work, put the TV on." I watched Neighbours or Home and Away or EastEnders for the last couple of hours, and I put a DVD on, and then I made something to eat, and then I went on the internet and surfed around, and you wonder why. A good friend of mine spent a lot of money on a TV, and this TV cost him over £1,000. A beautiful Samsung flat screen, 42-inch. And I said, "Val, how much is that costing you?" I said, "Well, it's over £1,000. No, how much is it costing you to watch that TV?" And this guy's got a lot of skills, and easily he can make a lot of money, and actually he's making a lot of money right now. But until I mentioned that to him, there's opportunity cost there. You've always got opportunities. So when you say you haven't got enough time, it's not that you haven't got enough time, it's because the thing that you want to do is not important enough for you to do it. That's why you're not spending enough time doing it. Think about it. Let's just say you were married, yeah, and you didn't spend time with your wife. You can't say I don't have time to spend with my wife. Or your family or your kids, because you have to make time to do that. Like with anything, a lot of people when they get into property, the mindset is, they want everything for free, and they don't want to do any work. Well, if you're thinking that and you're watching this and you're listening to me do this right now, you might as well give up. Yeah, you need to invest time. Yeah, time is money. You see, this is not get rich quick. This is get rich forever. Okay, then that's what I'm talking about. It's get rich forever. You work a long time, maybe for a couple of years. You systemize your business as well, and then you don't have to work after that. Whereas if you're in a job, you have to work hard for the rest of your life, and as you go on, you have to work harder and harder and harder and harder. So, you need a lot of time. Yes, you don't have to use a lot of time, but my question is, the more time you spend on your business, the more time you invest in yourself, the better results you get. And I think everyone listening to this now would actually agree with that.